Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel for war number 10 of season 52. Today we have a matchup against New Nation, yet another top 10 opponent, always a tough fight with these guys. Team today, Ironheart, Void returning to action along with Odin. We're going to be giving ourselves some pre-fights today. Let's jump right in. Starting off today on path number 2, and our first fight is going to be this Adam Warlock on node number 2, unduped Adam Warlock. So we could safely hit into his pod if we need to. We're not going to need to, but just something to know. We'll be taking this fight with Void, as I said, and really the only danger here is just to not take too many blocked hits because of the unblockable. At the start of the fight, we were waiting out that first placebo buff, just so that when we parry him, our parry stuns are going to be lasting the full duration. With that, I think it's with the roll with the punches node, if you don't have a buff on you when you parry, your parry stun duration is decreased or something like that. So you just want to kind of wait a couple seconds at the start of the fight. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward fight. We are not pushing him to his special 2 at all, just getting some practice on the special 1. I think I messed up a bunch of special 1s with Adam earlier in the season using Chavez, so I was really kind of focused on getting them all right in this specific fight. We've got a lock on his power gain. We have waited out the pod successfully, so I saw that message. He's triggering the pod there. We're going to wait it out. And one more striker intercept. And we finished that at close to 100% health. Pretty happy with that one. All right, moving on, we have a Sorcerer Supreme on node 11. Sorcerer Supreme is a tactic defender this season. I popped an invuln here because I wasn't really sure how rough the power gain was going to be between the placebo buffs and the nullify countdown, giving her extra power gain on top of that. And I'm trying my best here to push her to her special 2 because I want to avoid that like nullify aura on her special 1. So if we can push her all the way up to 2 bars, she won't activate that aura, and it'll be a bit of an easier fight here. And now we already do have one Petrify up. Unfortunately, we did not get the heal block up. Some really bad Resonate RNG there. And I hit into her and missed, so it took a couple hits there. Fortunately, she's placing those non-damaging debuffs on us, which is going to heal up most of that damage by the end of the fight here. So right here, she has triggered the Nullify Aura, so you can see her getting those power gains from nullifying our buffs. Not a huge problem here. And then she's got an extra power gain from the tactic, but by this point, we have the Petrifies up, plus the heal block ability power rate reduction. So this ended up being not even remotely close to any sort of difficult fight, and I really feel like I wasted an invuln on this, but you know, better safe than sorry, I guess. All right, moving on to section 2, we are going to be on path number 3. First off, we have a Mephisto here, provided by FinTech. Big shout out to Finn. And we're going to be taking this with Void. I initially had Ironheart on the plan for this fight for myself, and I rolled up to the fight, and I'm like, why on earth am I not just using Void? Like, my OG Mephisto counter. So I called an audible for myself, and we're just going to be using Void here. So, again, the only thing with Void is just be careful of the miss when the power gain is active if you don't have the heal block up. Right there, we have the heal block up. We got some good Resonate RNG. And, yeah, just kind of playing this more or less like a normal Mephisto fight, just baiting out the special 1s. We don't care about the aura at all. We've got the power gain handled from his aura when he does activate it, and this is as non-eventful as a fight as you can probably get in an Alliance War fight. It's triggered his regen, which we have also covered, and yeah, just another striker intercept. I think one more combo and a special 1 does him in. Another really easy fight. All right, moving on, we have a Havok here on node 30. Some interesting placements here on this path 3B. Neither of these defenders have any armor ups, and so the nodes really don't do anything for them. So just some curious placements here. Now with Havok, of course, we're going to be using the Rupture pre-fight with Ironheart because he is immune to Incinerate, and we have access to multiple armor ups, including a permanent one, and there's no way for Havok to remove those armor ups in this fight, so this is more or less like a duel or like a glorified Battlegrounds fight against him. We have tracking up for pretty much the entire fight, so we will not be missing him even when the heal block is not up. And the heal block is also helping to manage his ability power rate. So yeah, we pretty much have this entire fight on lockdown. Healing up the chip damage via willpower from those plasma debuffs. Inequity is going to be hitting us, you know, at some points during this fight. but it's not going to be constant, and it's definitely not enough to be of concern here. I'm certain White Mummy is running Inequity. Most people at this level are running Inequity, so we are just going to be spamming the special 1s in here, relying on the damage over time to carry the day. Probably could have pushed ourselves to the special 2. Either way, it doesn't matter. The fight is still very easy and very short, and we finish with a full yellow bar. Alright, moving up to the first boss island, we're taking this Emma Frost here on node 37. This was another fight that I grossly overestimated was going to be difficult, specifically because of the Resistance is Futile node, because with tracking up, Ironheart is immune to reverse control. So when Emma Frost throws her special attacks, I was concerned that the power gain was going to be just like out of control, but yeah, we talked through it, and it turns out that the power gain is essentially nothing, especially with easy access to the heal block from the tactics. So you can see we are triggering the power gain whenever we dex her special attacks. It is a non-stacking power gain, and it's only like 15% of her power. So yeah, but the heal block is doing so much work to just, you know, negate that power gain that this becomes just an absolute nothing fight here. And again, we're using the Rupture pre-fights because it is one of the very few damage over time effects that Emma is not immune to in her diamond form. We definitely cannot use Incinerates here. And once again, just sticking to the special 1s in this fight, just doing a lot of mediums when she has her telepath form up, because we can get easy parries and counter it that way. The regen from the node is also not a problem, and she goes down without a problem. Alright, last fight of the war for me is an Ebony Maw up here on the Hazard Shift Mini with Incinerate Shock. Ironheart is naturally Incinerate immune with the armor up buff. He has no way of removing it. And then we have the Odin pre-fights available for the shock resistance. And other than that, this again just becomes like a glorified duel. Ironheart is a excellent counter to Maw in general, because once she has tracking up, she can parry his non-contact attacks, which gives her easy openings for mediums, or knockdowns if you want. But in this fight, you don't even have to knock him down, because she's also going to prevent his miss. So even if he triggers the falter on us, like he did there, we can safely hit into him and we won't trigger the degen. Now that being said, I think I do attempt a heavy attack after a special 1 at some point here, and my spacing is like just off, that she whiffs and lands right next to him and takes a combo here. So should have taken my own advice here and not attempted this heavy out. Just out of range, and he punishes it. That's fine. I think I was expecting to take some degen at some point in this fight, just from him nullifying one of those Fury buffs with a special 1. I don't think it ends up happening though, which is nice. You know, we have the health pool to handle that degen anyways, so I'm not really worried about it. And a couple more ticks of this Incinerate here, or one more hit there, and down he goes. Alright, we did end up winning this one. Big shout out to New Nation, especially Fintech and White Mummy over there. 6 kills for me, 0 deaths. Our record stands at 7-3 with 2 wars remaining in the season. I talked about this a little bit in the previous video, but 7 wins should be enough to sneak us into top 10. We are still in the top 5 overall in attack bonus, so that's doing a lot of hard work in terms of our placement for this season. But of course, we definitely want to win at least one of our remaining 2 to lock us into top 10 with 8 wins. So hopefully we get that in these next 2 wars. That's going to do it for this one, folks. Let me know if you enjoyed it by hitting that like button. And as always, thank you very much for watching. See you again next time.